We also sat down with Senate Majority Leader Aaron Ford. I asked him about his view while the legislature was moving forward just a few weeks before sine die. So, Senator Ford, where are we? We're about 2 weeks before the end of the session. In terms of just the overall pace and where we are now, are we in a good place or a bad place?
Well, I think we're in a fantastic place. We have always touted ourselves and prided ourselves in being deliberate, whether it's the first session I was here to last session to this session. And what you're seeing is the pace of the bills coincides with the amount of deliberation going into getting bills done and passed. And what you're seeing now is toward the end of session, we've spent a lot of time on these bills, and we're happy where they are, and passing them out and sending them over to the governor's desk.
You have the Nevada blueprint and a number of bills in that Nevada blueprint. How are they in terms of the process of getting through? Are you getting through most of those bills?
Well, you know, our Nevada blueprint, as you know, is the focal point. It's the lens through which we look at all legislation. And you know, the short answer to the question is yes, absolutely. We're getting through all of the umbrella areas, if you will, including all of the bullet points. I promised at the beginning of session that every bullet point would have a bill associated with it. That has been the case, and sometimes you've had 3 or 4 different bills. And sometimes, frankly, those bills have been on the other side of the aisle. Because these are good ideas that hardworking Nevadans appreciate. And so we've been able to consolidate bills where necessary and run bills that affect hardworking Nevadans.
Yeah. Is there any bill that you wanted to get through that so far has not made it past the deadline or may not make it past today's deadline? Today's the committee deadline for the second house.
Well, no, listen, I think the priorities, as I've indicated, are laid out in our blueprint. And the good thing about being in the majority is that we get to run, you know, we get to run the show as we see fit. And so we've spent the time on the bills that needed more time, the bills that were easier, if you will, to conceptualize and to put into writing, we've already passed out. And I'm confident that by the end of session, we will have passed all of our blueprint priority bills.
One of the sticking points that we may face is the ESA issue. The governor had $60 million allocated in his budget for that. Democrats were very skeptical, not only last session of the concept, but also this time around of devoting money that could otherwise go to public schools and improving public schools to ESAs. The Republicans say they are not going to vote for any final budget that doesn't have that in there. Is that going to be a sticking point, or do you think that there'll be some compromise on ESAs?
Well, as I've said the entire session, and frankly even before session, we're focused on public school education and spending our public dollars on public schools. And until we're able to ascertain exactly where the funds are coming from to fund our public schools, we didn't want to entertain conversations about voucher programs. I've always been open to the dialogue. I said that to you when I was on your show, I believe, even before session. But our focus has been on public school education, and it continues to be so.
And we have more of that interview on LasVegasNow.com as well.